Welcome back everyone to another fascinating deep dive into the world of rare and extraordinary coins where a simple penny, something most of us overlook or even toss aside, can turn out to be worth an unimaginable fortune. And today's story is all about the 1977 1-cent coin that has shocked collectors and historians alike with a rumored value reaching an incredible $75 million. A value born not of gold or silver content but of the mysteries and mistakes that make this particular coin one of the most astonishing in American numismatic history. Imagine finding a simple Lincoln cent, dull in color, perhaps with years of wear, only to discover it holds secrets that elevate it far beyond its humble 1-cent face value. The 1977 penny, struck during a decade of great change and experimentation at the U.S. Mint, stands as a symbol of how tiny errors can transform ordinary currency into a piece of priceless history. To understand why this coin has captivated experts and why it might be worth as much as $75 million, we must travel back to the mid-1970s, when the United States Mint was producing billions of Lincoln cents at its facilities in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The year 1977 might seem ordinary on the surface, no official design change, no commemoration, but hidden beneath the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln were production challenges, material inconsistencies, and mechanical flaws that led to some of the rarest minting errors ever discovered. These errors, when perfectly aligned in the right coin, create what collectors call a perfect storm of rarity. Among the most significant factors that have pushed certain 1977 pennies into astronomical value brackets is the combination of multiple minting mistakes, off-center strikes, double dies, die cracks, lamination flaws, and even transitional metal anomalies that defy what should have been possible for that year's production. The 1977 penny, made primarily of copper before the change to zinc-coated planchets in 1982, has its fair share of unique traits, but some rare versions appear to have been struck on experimental planchets or foreign coin blanks, creating unimaginable rarity. When such a coin surfaces in pristine condition, authenticated by experts, its value skyrockets. One of the most talked about examples is a 1977 1-cent coin that shows a strong double die on the obverse, meaning that Lincoln's portrait and the inscriptions like "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" appear slightly doubled. This doubling, clearly visible to the naked eye, is not a simple smudge or machine error but a true die error, resulting from a misalignment during the die creation process. Coins like this have fetched thousands at auction, but the few that combine this doubling with other mistakes, such as a misaligned die strike or a clipped planchet, are the ones that have drawn the attention of elite collectors willing to pay millions. Another known variation includes the 1977 penny struck on a bronze planchet of slightly incorrect weight, indicating it may have been a leftover blank from an earlier year or from a foreign contract, as the U.S. Mint occasionally produced coins for other nations during that era. A coin like this with the wrong composition or weight can become an unparalleled rarity, especially when combined with mint luster and near-perfect preservation. Imagine a coin with a slight off-center strike where part of the "In God We Trust" motto is cut off, while the reverse 1 cent and United States of America appear doubled and crisp. That small deviation, barely a few millimeters in production, is what transforms a penny into a treasure chest. Beyond visual errors, microscopic inspection of certain 1977 1-cent coins has revealed minute die cracks running through Lincoln's profile, particularly across the forehead and jawline, a trait often called the "cracked skull" variety by enthusiasts. These fine cracks indicate stress fractures in the die that transferred onto the coin's surface during striking. Because dies were routinely replaced, only a handful of coins could have been produced before the defect was corrected, meaning such pieces are incredibly rare. Add in color variations caused by improper metal mixing, creating red, brown, and even bluish tones in the copper alloy, and you have a spectrum of physical uniqueness that makes some coins one of a kind. Collectors and numismatists obsess over condition, and in the world of coin grading, even a single grade point difference between, say, MS 66 and MS 67 can mean a difference of thousands of dollars. The 1977 penny that allegedly sold for over $75 million wasn't just any coin, it was reported to be a near-perfect specimen featuring multiple overlapping mint errors, preserved in pristine condition, and authenticated by top grading agencies like PCGS or NGC. While such sales often circulate in numismatic rumors and private collections, the intrigue surrounding them keeps fueling global fascination. Another intriguing possibility that fuels the mystery behind the 1977 cent's astronomical value is the idea that a few were struck using leftover dies from previous years or even experimental dies prepared for later years. During this period, the U.S. Mint was constantly testing die durability and striking pressure, and mistakes could occur when a die meant for test strikes was accidentally used for mass production. Some researchers even believe that the 1977 D penny, minted in Denver, might exist in rare transitional forms where the lettering spacing differs subtly from the normal version. If confirmed, such coins would represent a bridge between design generations, a phenomenon that adds immense historical and monetary worth. On the reverse side, featuring the Lincoln Memorial, errors such as doubling in the columns or partial missing details due to filled dies can drastically enhance value. When a die becomes clogged with grease or debris, portions of the design fail to strike clearly, producing a grease-filled die error. This can result in missing letters or incomplete images, creating an unintentionally minimalistic appearance that collectors love for its rarity. Some 1977 pennies show missing parts of states or e pluribus unum, creating fascinating visual quirks that fetch huge sums. Another type of error involves repunched mint marks, often called RPMs, particularly for coins struck in Denver with the D mark. In some cases, the mint mark was punched twice at slightly different angles, producing a ghostly double D. Such coins not only represent technical anomalies but also document the manual nature of mint mark application before automation fully took over. Each RPM variety can command thousands, but when paired with doubling or planchet errors, their value increases exponentially. There's also speculation that some 1977 1-cent coins were struck using slightly worn dies that produced a frosted cameo effect on Lincoln's portrait, giving the illusion of a proof-like finish on circulation strikes. These coins, although technically not proofs, exhibit mirror-like backgrounds and sharply defined devices, making them visually striking and highly collectible. As collectors know, beauty combined with rarity equals value, and that's a huge factor in how a penny could climb to a $75 million valuation. Yet the fascination doesn't stop at physical characteristics. The story behind the coin, its provenance, and its journey through time play crucial roles in driving up its worth. Imagine a coin that survived decades tucked away in an old jar, discovered in a dusty attic or an estate sale, later authenticated as a minting marvel. Its story adds mystique and emotional value that translates into market demand. The 1977 1-cent, often dismissed as a common penny, has thus become an icon of possibility, a reminder that extraordinary value can hide in plain sight. Another layer of intrigue comes from the idea that during the 1970s, the mint faced inconsistencies in metal supply, especially in the copper used for cents. This led to variations in tone, texture, and weight. Some planchets contained microscopic impurities that created swirling patterns under magnification, giving the coin a unique fingerprint. Collectors love anomalies like this because they can be authenticated with precision, making each coin a one-of-a-kind artifact. Furthermore, environmental toning, caused by oxidation over time, can produce spectacular rainbow hues on the copper surface, enhancing eye appeal and therefore market value. When a coin with mint errors also boasts vibrant natural toning, its aesthetic allure makes it irresistible to top-tier collectors and investors. The $75 million figure, while shocking, becomes plausible when one considers how rarity, condition, historical significance, and collector frenzy intersect. For example, the 1943 copper penny and the 1955 double die penny have sold for hundreds of thousands or more, despite their tiny size and base metal composition. When we apply that same principle to a coin like the 1977 1-cent that exhibits multiple, layered anomalies, perhaps even unique in existence, the value can leap into the tens of millions range. And while some may doubt that a penny could command such a price, numismatic history is filled with examples where perception and provenance outweigh metal content. A single unique coin becomes a symbol of perfection, a centerpiece of any collection, and a status item for the ultra-wealthy. Another possibility explored by researchers is the existence of 1977 pennies struck with partially polished dies, leading to semi-proof-like surfaces that mimic those of special mint sets. Since 1977 wasn't a year for official proof minting at every facility, any such coin would instantly stand out as an anomaly. Next. Today we're diving deep into one of the most mysterious and talked about pennies in American coin history, the 1978 1-cent coin, which has stunned collectors and experts alike for its extraordinary story, its unexpected production errors, and the astonishing claim that a particular specimen could be worth up to $62 million. Imagine holding a coin that was meant to be worth just a single cent, yet because of a combination of rare mistakes, minting anomalies, and historical quirks, it has now become one of the most coveted treasures in the numismatic world. The 1978 Lincoln penny may look ordinary to most people, a simple copper-colored coin bearing the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, but hidden in its metal are stories of imperfection, rarity, and mystery that elevate it far beyond its face value. The year 1978 might not immediately stand out in the long history of American coinage, yet it marked a transition period for the U.S. Mint, a time when production techniques, metal compositions, and design preparations were laying the groundwork for the changes that would take place in the 1980s. During this time, the Mint was still producing pennies primarily out of a copper alloy consisting of 95% copper and 5% zinc, but even slight variations in this mixture could result in dramatic changes in the coin's color, texture, and weight, factors that would later help identify rare and valuable variants. Among the millions of 1978 pennies struck at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, a few were born with remarkable errors, coins that slipped through the strict quality controls and became legends. The most valuable of these errors are believed to include double dies, off-center strikes, wrong planchet errors, and die cracks so significant that they create visible breaks across Lincoln's profile or the words of the motto. One of the most famous error types linked to the 1978 penny is the double die obverse, where the image or lettering was accidentally imprinted twice due to a misalignment during the die hubbing process. On some of these pennies, you can see doubled letters in Liberty or in the date, 1978, and sometimes even a faint second outline around Lincoln's face. For collectors, such doubling is not just a visual curiosity, it's a fingerprint of minting history, proof of the human and mechanical imperfections that occurred behind the scenes. While most double die errors from 1978 are relatively minor, a few examples have been reported where the doubling is bold and clear enough to fetch extraordinary prices at auction. Another kind of error that has fascinated experts is the off-center strike. In these cases, the blank coin was not properly centered between the dies when it was struck, resulting in a penny with a missing or partial design. The more off-center the strike, while still showing the date, the rarer and more desirable the coin becomes. Some 1978 pennies were struck as much as 50% off-center, producing dramatic visuals that turn an everyday object into a one-of-a-kind artifact. Then there are the wrong planchet errors, where a 1978 Lincoln cent was accidentally struck on a blank meant for another denomination, such as a dime or a foreign coin. Because planchets differ in size, weight, and composition, these mistakes create coins that are physically and visually distinct. A 1978 penny struck on an aluminum or dime planchet would be lighter in weight and slightly smaller in diameter, and such coins can command staggering amounts of money when authenticated by experts. Some collectors have speculated that a few 1978 pennies might even have been struck on leftover experimental planchets from earlier years, perhaps remnants from the 1974 aluminum cent experiment or other internal mint tests, making them even rarer. Another rare phenomenon in the 1978 series involves die cracks and die breaks. These occur when the metal dies used to strike coins develop fractures from wear and tear. The resulting coins often display raised lines, bumps, or blobs on their surface where metal flowed into the cracks. In extreme cases, parts of the design might appear distorted or connected by unusual lines, creating what collectors call cuds or die breaks. A dramatic die break that affects Lincoln's face, the date, or the lettering can make the coin an instant standout, and the more unique the pattern, the higher its value. Add to this the possibility of planchet laminations, where the metal surface peels or splits due to contamination or improper bonding, and you have a perfect storm of potential errors that can elevate a single 1978 penny to a multi-million-dollar treasure. But how could a coin like this possibly reach a value as high as $62 million? The answer lies not only in the physical rarity but also in the story, the intrigue, and the speculative excitement that surrounds these one-of-a-kind finds. In the numismatic world, value is driven by scarcity, condition, demand, and historical context. When a coin combines all of these in one small copper circle, the price can skyrocket beyond imagination. There have been rumors of a 1978 penny exhibiting an unprecedented combination of minting errors, perhaps a double die obverse struck off-center on the wrong planchet, or one displaying dramatic die cracks that form recognizable shapes or patterns. Some reports even suggest that a 1978 penny was mistakenly struck using dies prepared for a different year, possibly showing remnants of a 1977 or 1979 date underneath the main digits, creating what's known as an overdate error. Overdate coins have always been extremely collectible because they represent direct evidence of the mint's reuse of older dies, and they link two minting years in one object. Another aspect contributing to the legend of the 1978 cent's immense value is its historical placement between two significant shifts in U.S. coinage, the end of the traditional copper composition and the technological evolution of die making. The late 1970s were a period of experimentation and adjustment, with the mint refining its methods to accommodate mass production demands. Errors from this era serve as relics of that transitional struggle, each one telling a story about how precision and imperfection coexist even in the most controlled environments. Furthermore, the 1978 penny marks one of the last years before the major shift in composition to copper-plated zinc in 1982. This gives the coin additional appeal to collectors who favor the classic heavy copper cents for their sound, feel, and craftsmanship. When you combine that historical significance with the excitement of rare errors, you get a perfect storm for skyrocketing value. For a coin to reach a rumored $62 million, it would need to be absolutely unique, a once-in-history error that defies duplication. Perhaps it was a specimen discovered in a sealed mint bag decades later, in pristine condition, with an error so dramatic that no other coin matches it. Maybe it was a coin struck with misaligned dies that created an extraordinary overlapping image, or a transitional planchet error that bridges two eras of minting metals. Collectors are drawn to mystery, and when a coin's story becomes intertwined with rarity, speculation, and a hint of myth, its value becomes almost symbolic. Just like the famous 1943 copper penny or the 1955 double die cent, the 1978 penny joins the ranks of those few coins that have transcended their monetary origin and become pieces of American folklore. Every collector dreams of discovering such a piece in pocket change or an old jar of coins inherited from a relative, and stories of lucky finds continue to fuel the fascination. Even in circulated condition, some 1978 pennies with minor but visible errors have fetched hundreds or thousands of dollars, and pristine examples certified by grading services like PCGS or NGC can reach tens of thousands, especially if they show clear anomalies. But when an extraordinary specimen emerges, one that combines multiple rare characteristics, it can break all records, commanding millions from high-end collectors and museums. The mystique of the $62 million 1978 penny lies in its symbolic value as much as its material worth. It represents the magic of imperfection, the reminder that even in the mechanical precision of the mint, chance and error can create beauty and fortune. It's a testament to how history, craftsmanship, and accident converge in a single coin. Beyond its errors, the 1978 penny also carries subtle aesthetic features that make it appealing. The engraving of Lincoln by Victor David Brenner had been in use since 1909, and by 1978, the dies used to produce it had undergone countless refinements. Slight variations in die wear, polishing, and metal flow can create unique visual effects, sometimes causing the fields of the coin to appear mirror-like or giving Lincoln's bust a ghostly texture. These visual quirks, though minor, can enhance collectability. Some 1978 pennies also display strong, full strikes with crisp details on Lincoln's hair and the wheat or memorial lines on the reverse, depending on the die state. For collectors chasing perfection, a flawless strike with original luster can be as valuable as an error coin, especially in high grades. However, the true legends of 1978 are those coins that defy normal classification. Reports have surfaced of coins struck with partial mirror finishes on one side and frosted textures on the other, suggesting that experimental polishing techniques or die treatments were being tested. Others show partial reading on the edges, something unheard of for a cent, implying that they may have been struck on misfed blanks from other denominations. Each anomaly adds another layer to the mystery, another reason for collectors to speculate and bid higher. Last Today's story might just blow your mind because we're talking about the 1976 1-cent coin that's been rumored to have a staggering estimated value of $46 million due to its astonishing minting errors, production quirks, and the incredible historical significance that surrounds this tiny yet mighty piece of American numismatic history. So sit tight as we explore how something so small could become so valuable and why collectors around the world are desperate to find one of these rare treasures. Hidden in their coin jars, drawers, or maybe even lying unnoticed in their wallets. The 1976 1-cent coin, minted during the United States bicentennial era, holds a special place in American history as the nation was celebrating 200 years of independence, and while the mint was busy producing special designs for quarters, half dollars, and dollars to commemorate the event, the humble penny retained its classic Lincoln Memorial design. But what makes the 1976 cent stand out isn't its appearance, it's the anomalies, the hidden mistakes, and the tiny imperfections that slipped through quality control and somehow survived circulation, making it a numismatic legend whispered about in collector circles. Let's start by understanding the context. The U.S. Mint in 1976 was under immense pressure as production numbers soared to meet public demand for circulating coins during the bicentennial celebration, and that rush to strike billions of coins opened the door for errors, die varieties, and accidental planchet mix-ups that today make certain 1976 pennies worth an unimaginable fortune. Among the most famous and valuable are the double die obverse varieties where Abraham Lincoln's profile and the inscriptions like Liberty or In God We Trust appear doubled, a clear sign of a misaligned die during the minting process. When such doubling occurs, it essentially creates a coin with two slightly offset images layered over each other, giving it a shadowed look that's instantly recognizable under magnification. Some examples of the 1976 double die obverse pennies show such intense doubling that even the naked eye can spot it, and these are the specimens that have fetched tens of thousands of dollars at auction, with stories spreading of one specific piece rumored to be insured for several million due to its near-perfect preservation and dramatic doubling. But that's just one of the reasons why this coin is so special. Another key factor lies in off-metal strikes, coins mistakenly struck on the wrong planchet. Imagine a 1976 Lincoln cent not on its usual copper alloy but instead accidentally struck on a dime planchet or even a foreign coin blank due to a mix-up in the mint's machinery. These off-metal errors are extraordinarily rare because the mint's process is designed to prevent cross-contamination of blanks, but with billions of coins being produced that year, accidents did happen. A 1976 penny struck on an aluminum or silver planchet would be lighter, have a slightly different ring when dropped, and possibly even a different coloration or texture. Such a coin would instantly catch a numismatist's attention and could command astronomical prices, especially if authenticated and certified by grading services like PCGS or NGC. There are also known broad strike and off-center errors from 1976 where the coin wasn't perfectly seated in the press when struck, resulting in parts of the design being pushed outward or incomplete. These coins show wide, distorted rims and sometimes reveal blank metal where the design should have been, giving them an oddly stretched look that collectors find irresistibly unique. A perfectly centered 1976 penny is common, but one that shows a 50% off-center strike yet retains a full date and visible features of Lincoln's face. That's the kind of piece that goes viral in collector communities and can fetch thousands or more depending on its state of preservation. Even more fascinating are the 1976 cents exhibiting die cracks and cuds, raised lines or blobs of metal caused by damaged dies. These might sound minor, but each one represents a unique fingerprint of the coin's creation, and when dramatic enough, they can turn an ordinary cent into a conversation piece worth big money. Imagine a 1976 penny with a massive die break running through Lincoln's head or the words, United States of America, on the reverse appearing partially obliterated by a cud. Such coins become instant favorites because they vividly tell the story of stress and imperfection in the coinage process. Now let's discuss something that really elevates the 1976 penny's legend, transitional errors. During this era, the mint was experimenting with different compositions due to rising copper prices. Although the official transition to zinc-coated cents didn't happen until 1982, the mint tested various metal combinations throughout the 1970s. A few experimental planchets from earlier tests occasionally got mixed into regular production runs, leading to extremely rare wrong metal strikes. A 1976 cent mistakenly struck on a test aluminum planchet or leftover steel blank from decades prior could theoretically exist, and if discovered, would easily command 7 figures. There are also rumors of satin finish strikes and proof-like business strikes from certain die sets that were unusually polished, giving some 1976 cents a mirror-like surface reminiscent of proof coins even though they were meant for circulation. These are often called specimen strikes by collectors, and when combined with a major error like doubling or misalignment, they become dream finds. Another layer of intrigue surrounds the mint marks. The 1976 pennies were struck primarily at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with no mint mark for Philadelphia and a D for Denver. While most Denver coins appear standard, there have been reports of repunched mint marks, RPMs, where the D was stamped more than once, slightly off from its original position. Under magnification, these RPMs show 2 overlapping Ds or a shadow of the original punch beneath the visible one. Collectors love these because they provide a clear human connection to the minting process. It's like catching the mint mid-correction. Some extreme cases of RPMs have sold for thousands, and when you combine an RPM with another error, like a double die or off-center strike, you're looking at an exponentially higher value. Then there's the issue of coloration and toning. Over the decades, natural environmental reactions can create stunning hues on copper coins, blues, purples, reds, and golds. When a 1976 penny exhibits spectacular rainbow toning that developed naturally and evenly across its surface, collectors are often willing to pay premiums that defy logic because each toned coin is a one-of-a-kind piece of art created by time and chemistry. A high-grade 1976 cent with extraordinary toning and a rare error could easily be valued in the millions by the right buyer, especially if it's graded MS 67 or above by PCGS or NGC. What really fuels the mystique of the $46 million valuation rumor is that some collectors believe a unique combination of errors exists, perhaps a 1976 double die obverse struck on a silver dime planchet with an off-center strike and rainbow toning. Such a one-of-one specimen would be priceless, essentially a perfect storm of minting anomalies unlikely ever to be replicated. Whether or not that specific coin has surfaced remains uncertain, but stories of private transactions and insurance valuations continue to circulate among high-end collectors and auction houses, hinting that something truly special might exist. And beyond the technical errors, there's the emotional factor. The 1976 penny carries deep patriotic symbolism because it was minted during America's 200th birthday. People were saving coins from that year as keepsakes, and any piece tied to the bicentennial tends to have an added layer of historical value. While the penny didn't get a special bicentennial design like other denominations, its association with that iconic year still boosts its desirability. When you mix that emotional connection with extreme rarity and documented mint mistakes, the resulting market value becomes something extraordinary. Over the years, various coin enthusiasts have stumbled upon odd 1976 cents that looked slightly different, lighter weight, thinner edges, off-center designs, or unusual metallic shine, and those lucky few who had them authenticated sometimes discovered they were holding a small fortune. Some cases made headlines, with certain coins selling privately for 6 or 7 figures depending on their uniqueness and grade. Experts often remind collectors that the condition of the coin plays a massive role in determining its worth. A 1976 penny with an error in poor condition might still fetch hundreds, but a flawless uncirculated version of the same error could be worth thousands or even millions. Mint state coins, especially those graded MS 66 and above, are prized because they preserve every detail of the minting error, giving future generations a perfect record of the mistake. Collectors often use high-powered microscopes, digital scales, and XRF metal analyzers to examine 1976 cents for hidden surprises. Even a slight deviation in weight from the normal 3.11 grams can indicate an off-metal strike, while microscopic doubling or die wear can reveal a valuable variety missed by casual inspection. Because of this, thousands of hobbyists across the country regularly check their spare change and old jars of pennies hoping to find one of these incredible 1976 rarities.